Hello, hello. Hey, y'all. What's up? I'm Kaylee, and oh my gosh, we're here with our first episode ever. Now, before I jump into any conversation, I would like to formally introduce myself. And we are at episode 1, so I think it would be appropriate, especially since we don't really know each other quite yet. Now, I'm literally nobody to you. So, of course, you probably never heard of me, but that's okay because we're going to get to know each other very well on this podcast. And hopefully, by the end of this episode, you'll gain some insight of my background, what I've been through, and how I got to this point here now on Let's Talk Red Carpet and Games. But first, you gotta listen to this. Red Carpet Games. Celebrate your magic in the middle of your gameplay. Red Carpet Games. I'm Kaylee, and you're listening to Red Carpet Games. Here. Oh, shout out to Mr. Nobody for mixing my theme song for this because it is fire. No, seriously, I love it. Makes this podcast feel so much more official to me. So thank you again for Mr. Nobody for putting this together for me. Now, again, if you missed the intro, this podcast is all about real conversations involving real people and situations. The focus is all on things society tries to force us to take less seriously. It's finding the magic in the middle of your gameplay because achieving our goals is only worth it if we're happy. Here we're going to focus on self-care and the choices that we make. We're going to be talking about parenting, dating, relationships, careers, creating online content, and more while trying not to lose ourselves while on the grind for success and financial freedom. So in today's first episode, drum roll, we are going to be talking about beating comparison and affirming your identity. Today is just me and you all who are listening, but I would love to revisit this topic with an expert and some of my friends on how to battle comparing yourself to others. So, before I finish my story, I just want to make one thing clear as we go on this journey together and as we step into the circle of trust. I want to confess that I am happy but not perfect. I am still learning and developing skills that will improve my overall mindfulness and self worth. And it will be a disservice to you if I pretend that I got it all together because I don't. But I do work really hard at trying to keep my shit together. This is a full disclosure that no matter what I say or present on the outside, I don't know it all. And frankly, at times, I don't know shit. Heck, at times I procrastinate, I get sick, and some days I really, really get deep in my thoughts, and I have to find a way to get myself out of those dark moments. There's highs and there's lows, but I will keep it moving, I will keep it pushing. And I've been learning instead of why is happening to me, I'm learning to ask what this is trying to teach me. I am learning to find the magic in the middle of my gameplay and learning to embrace each moment as it comes. And I would like for you to join me on that journey. That's it. All we have is now, and we have to make the most of it. So, like, why not start now? Okay. So back to my story. Oh my God, where do I even begin? Like, okay, so without going too far back, I want to say that my adult journey started my senior year in high school. Why? Well, I became a teen mom. I was 17. I had no idea where my life was going to take me. And at that moment, I realized I had a lot of growing up to do. Like any teen mom, you start to worry about the type of life that you're going to live up to. You worry about the type of support you're going to have and just what are you going to be doing with your life now that you're responsible for another human. And you just don't know what's going to happen next. So I did panic a lot about the financial support that I would have for my child. And also, by me transitioning into college during that time, I just didn't know if I would be able to balance time to study, school, and take care of a child. So yeah, I had to grow up. And the last thing I wanted was for people to compare me to other teen moms that I didn't finish school, or I didn't go for a career, or I'm going to end up with another kid. You know, there was a really harsh stereotype back then when you were a teen mom. So I really struggled with the comparisons that people were already throwing at me. And some of them were peers that I went to school with. So I had to really figure out what my next steps were going to be. So I sat down with my mom and family, and we set out a plan for me to continue my career ambitions while taking care of my child. Thank goodness I had an amazing support during that time. And my mom, oh my gosh, guys, my mom really made some sacrifices to really help me grow as an individual. Now, fast forward, I went off to college to study fashion design. And of course, like most college students, I changed my majors, and I finished my bachelor's study in marketing and management with the emphasis in fashion. After landing some great internships and getting the experience working in some corporate environments, I started my own business and took on different contracts for product development, event planning, and photography. After doing that for a few years and not landing a real job, I finally just said F it, and I started my venture as a digital content creator. It was not an easy feat, but I managed to grow my Twitch channel as Lady Kaylee with over a 10K following. After a few setbacks and failures of not getting partnered and kind of just being in my head about like what is my next move into this digital content creator like landscape, I finally decided to dive deeper and rebrand it to which now brings you Red Carpet Games. Now, I know I've been a little bit selfish talking about myself for like the past 4 minutes. And I promise you, I'm not trying to overdo it. So let's jump into the real conversation for this episode. On my website, redcarpetgames.com, I have a quote featured that reads, "Stop comparing yourself to others because it undermines your worth, strength, and determination." I probably added that quote like 10 years ago, and it just never gets old for me. To this day, I'm still learning how to not compare myself to others. Another quote by Theodore Roosevelt says, "Comparison is the thief of joy." And I cannot agree even more, because when I tell you, when I get into those moments, and not that it's necessarily like always a bad thing to compare yourself to like others or like situations, there's a gray area there. When you start doing that, you have to understand what the end goal of you comparing yourself to somebody else is. And a lot of times you end up just kind of bringing yourself down. And there was this article I came across actually that on HuffPost of why you should stop comparing yourself to others. If comparing how you evaluate your worth, you will always be like in a battle. You will always be losing at life, because you will never reach a point where you are better than others in every way. And why would you want to be? You know what I mean? So it's kind of dangerous and damaging to your sense of self to even tread down that path of like comparing yourself to other people. And you know, not only comparing yourself breeds like the feelings that you're having, like it genuinely brings down your self-esteem, your confidence. It could put you into a depression. You at times it's hard for you to trust other people, and then it's just this downward like spiral of like chaos that you're bringing among yourselves, because you're comparing yourself to others that are like fortunate, or like they have more things to you, and you're in a different place in your life. So you can't compare yourself to those that are at a higher level, or you know what I mean? So like it's bad. But they had like a couple of things that they had listed on their article, and number one is it's damaging to your sense of self. Two, what you are comparing against is inaccurate information. Number three was it doesn't actually help you accomplish your goals. And I agree. You know, especially with number three, when you're comparing yourself to like other people and like their success and like what they're doing, like you have the tendency to not focus and be ineffective on like what your end goal is. That means you're more focused on what they're doing. Heck, we do it in online spaces sometimes, and if you're a content creator like myself, it's very, very easy to pull yourself into that like that phase of like comparing yourself to other content creators that are probably doing better than you as far as like viewership, sub goals and stuff like that. And you start to wonder, well, is my content good enough? Like, why do people like what I'm doing? Am I funny? You know, and it's not progressive. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't help you get better at your craft. So you have to imagine yourself like being in your own shoes. Like I don't even know if that makes sense, me just saying that. Like I'm trying to make sense here. And guys, look, disclaimer, like I am no expert at this topic or conversation. Like I said, I would love to revisit this conversation with someone who has better insights on this type of topic. But from my experience, okay, and we're gonna talk on like our experiences for right now. And I've had those moments being on Twitch, for example. You know, I did grow my channel to a 10K following, so it was easy for me to compare myself to other content creators that got partnered at maybe like a 5K following, and they average maybe like 30 viewers. You know, it's like, wow, why can't I be partnered? Why can't I get to that moment? And it's not me speaking from hate or envy towards that content creator, but it's more so like I end up questioning myself. I end up questioning my worth and my value as a content creator. Like, am I not funny enough? Like, do I not provide decent content that people are not gravitating towards me? You know, all types of stuff. And I had to get myself out of that train of thought, and I had to realize that it's not that I'm not funny or I don't make good content, but it was more analytical. It was more of a business thing. You know, Twitch has a different algorithm than YouTube and other social media websites have, so discoverability is much harder. I digress because I definitely went off topic. I'm so sorry, but regardless, you know, when you're comparing yourself against other people and things, you're not focusing on your goals. You're too focused on the negative. And you're probably not putting yourself out there because you're focusing on what the other person has more than you, than what you have for yourself. So yeah, it's damaging. It's non-progressive. You're not going to get anywhere comparing yourself to anybody else. Now we're going to break away for a second from the topic, and we're going to go towards a question that I asked online, which was, what are some methods you practice to prevent you from comparing yourself to others in work, online, or creative spaces? And we did get one reply from Special K Jules. She mentioned, I use my morning routine to help throughout the day, which includes affirmations, journaling, meditating, reading, and etc. If I start to compare myself to others, I take some time to myself, sit in that feeling, and really ask myself, why am I comparing myself to others? I ask myself questions to get to the root of my feelings. And you know what? That's a really great method, Special K. Thank you for responding. I appreciate your engagement. That's really good. Like, especially like affirmations. I think that's like probably one of my like most favorite methods of like, just not even just for comparing yourself against like other people to kind of like dim that down a little bit, but just in general, like it helps boost your self-esteem. It helps you see yourself with more value, more worth, and it's just like a really good practice to have as a part of your daily routine anyway. But journaling and meditating, reading, like all of those things are like really great like routines or like methods to kind of like help you. All of those things are very useful to help put you in a better train of thought. And I agree. As for myself, if it's not a secret, but like I love to sit down and play video games. Like, that's like a coping thing for me too, especially like when I'm really stressed or I'm trying to decompress from like a really long day. Sometimes I do find myself in my thoughts and I start comparing myself to like other people. So to get me out of that mood, like I'll just turn the game on. Like I'll hop on like, some Apex, or I'll freaking like play one of my favorite MMO games like Final Fantasy or something, because I like the environment that some of these games have is just so distracting, and it kind of gets me immersed into like the digital gaming instead of like what's going on in my life right now. Another thing that I also like to do is affirmations as well. And I tell myself in the mirror, and I have like this little vanity mirror I put together myself. Yes, I did a DIY project. Maybe I'll tell you guys about it later, but I'll turn the light on and I'll talk to myself. I'll tell myself that things are going to get better. You're doing great. You're improving. You're growing. Whatever that's good, telling myself, I tell myself. And a lot of times it helps. I would have loved to had more comments to like speak on and give you guys shout outs, but you guys gotta participate, honey. Make sure you go to my Twitter, which is at REDCARPETGAMEZ, so you don't miss out on the opportunity to get a shout out when I have these conversations. And like things are gonna get better, okay? Like I'm so serious, guys. Like I'm pretty sure there's like other communities, other podcasts that are out there talking about these type of things, but it's just I don't see it in the communities enough that I'm a part of. And I feel like part of my duty is to bring that here for you guys, and to bring an opportunity to the table where we can sit down and have those real conversations, especially like things that we don't talk about all the time, or maybe we do, but we do it behind closed doors because we're worried about the viewpoints or like what other people are thinking. Again, we're comparing, you know what I mean? So like, let's get out of that habit and let's really talk about these things, because one, it's going to be healthy for us. We can get to the bottom of it and we can really figure out how to navigate through these online spaces, and as well as just navigate in life. Why stress ourselves with the small things, honey? Not saying that, we don't have our moments, because like I mentioned, I have my moments. But how long are we going to allow ourselves to be in those dark moments? It's not healthy. And I would prefer that you guys get it out and talk about it. So moving back on to the topic, there's another article that I looked up that I kind of wanted to touch on, that I think it's like really, really intuitive for this type of conversation. So I came across this article on psychologytoday.com on 3 reasons to stop comparing yourself to others. And not to go into the full article, but just like the main points that they made, they had 3 reasons why using social comparisons is wrong. The first is others' so-called perfection is an illusion. I found that one very interesting because it's very, very common that we see this in online spaces. Of course you have like your influencers that show like these amazing vacations that they're taking, or like they have these amazing professional accomplishments. Some of them are spouses, and they're showing that they have this amazing relationship between each other. And the truth is Nobody is perfect, you know, like at times people announce things that we kind of perceive ourselves to want to be in that moment or to have that type of moment. And you end up kind of envying like what they have. You're not happy for the person, like what they have going on. You envy them. And a lot of times that's not true. It's what they are projecting. It's what they're showing. But the reality is you're envying somebody that and you're comparing yourselves to them because they've created this image of perfection that they have this grand lifestyle, but on the other end, you don't know what they're dealing with. These are real people. Like, yeah, they might be showing this excitement, this life that they have, but in reality, some of them are dealing with hardships and just really bad relationships, and you don't even know it, and you're adding on to the troubles that they have. And as individuals, we shouldn't be encouraging that. We shouldn't be doing that. We shouldn't be comparing ourselves to other people because they decided to share what they have or what they're doing that is exciting and it's just amazing, and then you take it upon yourself to envy that. It's not right. The second one that they had as a reason was life isn't fair. And I'm going to read what they have in their insert. Some people are born with more advantages than others. A perfectly symmetrical face, rapid fire metabolism, wealthy parents, social connections that help them score a coveted job. Yet, when we compare ourselves unfavorably to others, we often beat ourselves up for not trying hard enough. It's much more likely that the differences we see reflect an uneven playing field. Hard work just isn't enough sometimes. Oof. Look, honey, I'm not gonna lie. I have definitely done this a lot. And it was during the time where I was really trying my best to get a job. Like, I swear to y'all, like, I feel like I've done everything I could possibly do, going to college, getting an education, going through internship opportunities, actually learning how to start and launch my own business and take that into a corporate environment and actually do contract work. I was working my behind off. So yes, when I see that somebody was offered an opportunity that I was going for and they had no experience, no education, no background doing those things, it just made me feel like, yo, this is not fair. Life sucks. I don't know why I went to school, and I started like just going down this dark road, okay? Like, it was bad, y'all. And not even to mention the fact that, I know that I have a certain work ethic, and I've just found myself comparing myself. I wouldn't even say to like other black people in the professional working world, but it would be like white people. It's like, dang, they could get this job because they know this person, they know this and that, and I get nothing. Child, like, it was rough, but it's so easy for us to get caught in that life isn't fair. And oh my gosh, like, we have to bring ourselves out of it because, again, it's non-progressive. It's very damaging to yourself, and you start to give up. Like, you start to feel like nothing you're doing is working, nothing you're doing is worth it, and you give up. And that's not a healthy like thought to get yourself in the mix of. For the third one, they put comparisons turn friends and allies into rivals. Ooh, in a perfect world, we would celebrate and genuinely enjoy the joys and accomplishments of others. Yet, if we use others as a benchmark to evaluate ourselves, that creeping twinge of jealousy may undermine our ability to truly cherish the good things that comes to others. Just remember, over time, things may even out, and a friend's success may enable him or her to support and make opportunities for others, including you. Ooh, This is obviously going to be a conversation that's going to be had later because a friend of mine, aka Doc Seuss, I think we've touched on this, and appreciating the moment for others is kind of important. But if you're busy comparing yourselves to their success, their joys, and their accomplishments, you're going to damage that relationship you have with that person, especially like when jealousy is involved. Like, it may not be intentional, but you don't realize like how negative you're being towards that person because they have had better opportunities than you. And I want to believe that, like, even if someone has success and you're a part of their life, like, you're going to be cutting your own blessings with that person, based on how you treat them. And you don't want to go down a path where, like, not only you're damaging yourself as an individual, but you're damaging the relationships that you have with other people because you can't turn off comparing yourself to them. And it's unhealthy. And we need to learn to appreciate the accomplishments of others. It's humbling. And that may be a skill that needs to be practiced for some people, but I truly believe that is important to have and to keep hold of yourself, because when good things come to you, when you reach moments of joy and accomplishments, you're going to want people to celebrate that with you. And if you've been going knocking down walls and tearing up people's houses and stuff like that, like, no one's going to be there for you, and it's just going to bring you back to a depression and you having that moment where you're comparing yourselves to others again. So I thought this was like a really, really interesting 3 reasons, and they did go more in depth about like how you can structure your goals and how you can kind of troubleshoot comparing yourself to other people in ways to turn it off. But we're not going to quite get into that because we are reaching our 30-minute mark on this first episode. I just want to take some time out to kind of like reiterate that I don't want to be the only person having these conversations with you guys. So if you are interested in submitting any topic ideas, or you want to be interviewed, you want to be a part of a conversation, please check out the description below. There's going to be some links there for you guys to visit. We even have a voice recording website link available for you if you want to leave a voice recording or a voice memo and you want the opportunity for that to be aired on the next episode. Feel free to do so. You can also visit my website at www.redcarpetgames.com. There's an option for you to chat with me live. There's just so many ways to get in touch with me, guys. It's ridiculous. Like, I feel like I've laid out all the ways you can get in touch with me. You guys can also, follow my Twitter account. I do have a Facebook page where you guys can reach out to me at. If you're using different social media sites, that's fine. There's so many ways to get in touch with me. I also have a Discord as well. So if you would like that Discord information, I can drop that for you guys as well. So I just want to say that I'm here to listen. Okay. If you're ready to talk about something that you feel like we need to hear and the community needs to hear, and you just don't have the platform right now to do so, I'm willing to offer that to you. I'm here to listen. We're here to figure it out. If you are an expert on any of the conversations that we had and you would like to give us some great grand advice, come on over. I am willing to have that conversation with you. We can sit down and we can talk about it. Again, that's www.redcarpetgames.com. And maybe I should mention that the games is an Z, not an S at the end. I know, right? But I have a blog there. I have some of my content on that website. So there's plenty of information and things to kind of like scroll through if you visit. Also, I think I'm going to try to incorporate, some of the podcast things into my Twitch live streams. So if you guys want to check me live, normally I stream on the weekends. You can come check me out on twitch.tv/REDCARPETGAMEZ, again with the Z at the end, not an S. Usually it's just like gameplay. Like I get on there and I play some video games, and y'all gonna learn very soon that I love to talk about video games, and we are gonna do that here, as well as a little extra sauce on the conversations when it comes to fashion and beauty and other things that we're going to be talking about here. So again, thank you for tuning in to listen, because if you gotten to this point, that means you was here and you was listening. I appreciate you. Also, guys, make sure you subscribe to the podcast so whenever I upload a new episode, you will catch and not miss a thing. And the little bonus, if you want, you can share it. Make sure you tell all your friends, you tell your communities to tune in and listen, especially if you're going to be a part of the show. Look, I know y'all want them in on the conversation, honey, but that's all I got for you guys. I really, again, thank you and appreciate you for listening. And I look forward to future conversations with friends and experts and what's to come with this podcast. This is something that I've been wanting to do for quite some time, and I never pushed myself to do it till now. So I am definitely proud of myself for actually putting this out there. Like I said, it's been in the talks for, oh my God, probably a year or so since I've been doing content creation, and I just never pursued it. I never pushed and put out a podcast content like that because I was just in my head and I was comparing myself to others. I was comparing myself to other podcasts. Oh, I can't do that. I don't have a podcast voice. And it's just a bunch of nonsense that was just going through my head. But, after going through my process of healing and rebranding, I was like, you know what? I've been talking about it. I'm going to do it. So here we are. Again, thank you guys. And yeah, make sure you grab the info in the description. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye. Red Carpet Games. Celebrate your magic in the middle of your gameplay. Red Carpet Games. I'm Kaylee, and you're listening to Red Carpet Games.